Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be an update for Pan in Every Palette. I am filming my third video of the night, but this should be the last one if you're sick of seeing me in my little outfit with this look. We had to do a little catching up tonight, but basically Pan in Every Palette is a project that was originally created by Lady Pans a lot over on Instagram. I highly recommend you check her out if you're not already following her. And this is a group collab, so I will have everybody linked down below that I know of that has been doing this project at one point or another. And basically, as the name would suggest, the goal is for us to eventually one day have a pan in every one of our palettes. That's the dream, man. That's the dream. This year I've been working on 3 palettes at a time. At one point I was working on 4 and I just felt like it was a little too much. But this year I'm working on 3 palettes at a time. 2 of them are face palettes and 1 of them is an eyeshadow palette. And I am working on hitting pan in one of those palettes. It's rolling, so when I do achieve that goal, that product rolls out and something rolls in to take its place. I am so excited to report that there will be something rolling out of this project this month. So, yay. The palette that I have hit my pan on this past month comes from my Tarte Clay Play Volume 2 palette. If you've been following along, this is probably no surprise to you, but yeah, here it is. My newest pan right there. I'm actually unbelievably close to hitting side pan over there. I didn't quite make it, but yep, that is my newest pan. I had panned the Clay Play virtually the exact same shade in the Clay Play Volume 1 just before this, and I knew it would be interesting to kind of compare numbers from one palette to the next to see how many uses it took to hit pan. Since I used them in the exact same place in the exact same way, I figured it would be interesting to compare how many uses it took me to hit the last one versus this one. And I have those numbers for you right here. So it ended up taking me 77 uses to hit pan on this shade. Now I did end up using it an additional 17 times this past month since hitting pan, which is why the pan is a good size pan. But it took me 77 uses to hit pan. And when I look at how many uses it took me with the Clay Play Volume 1, that was 74 uses. So that feels about right. It's certainly possible there's a missed usage on either side, but I did notice that the Clay Play Volume 1 was slightly more powdery, and there was a bit more kick up than on this Clay Play Volume 2, which might explain why I was able to hit pan in 3 fewer uses. But either way, it was about the same. So that's interesting. I'm consistent, if nothing else. But yes, that is my newest pan. I loved using both of those powders as an under eye setting powder, and I definitely look forward to getting back to both of them down the road in another project. But for now, we will be moving on to another palette, which I will show you in just a minute. But this one is rolling out of this project and heading back to the office for now. The other face palette that I'm working on in this project is my BH Cosmetics Dark Rose palette. This is an oldie. If you don't recognize it, it's probably because it was released before you were born. Just kidding. But it is really old. I am trying to hit pan on this peachy blush right here, and I did use it a total of 8 times over the past month. I'm working on one other blush to hit pan on, and I have another blush currently in Project 10 uses. So 8 uses feels about right, considering I'm working on a total of 3 blushes right now. And you know, I feel like I'm getting there. Blushes are notoriously slow to pan, and this one is no different, but I do feel like, I don't know, I feel like you can't see anything right now, but I feel like when I'm looking at it right here, I can definitely see a bit of a dip starting on this side of the pan over here, which is where I tend to target my brush from day to day. I don't know why you can't see the dip, but I can see the dip. Nope. You're just going to have to trust me on it. I suspect I still have a long way to go on it, but it's a nice shade. I like it. I think that's the blush I wore today. I'm pretty sure that's the blush I have on today. I put this on a long time ago. It's actually 2 o'clock in the morning. So I put it on about 18 or 19 hours ago. Put it on so long ago that I can no longer do math. I did take a nap for a little while, and I woke up refreshed and ready to film. And the third palette that I'm still working on in this project is my Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry palette. This is the eyeshadow, and it is the slowest going of the bunch because I'm working on a bajillion eyeshadows. So I only used this twice in the past month, which is pretty average for me. And there's still no pan. But yeah, right here is where I am trying to work on it. I use my finger to apply it. It is a stunningly gorgeous shadow. Just like stop me in my tracks when I'm going to the bathroom and I catch a glimpse of my eyes in the mirror. Gorgeous. But alas, no pan. Okay. Before I get on to showing you the palette that is rolling into this project, let's talk about pan percentage really quickly. In each one of these updates, I try to discuss where I'm at with my pan percentage. As I said at the beginning of this video, my goal is to get towards 100% of the palettes I own having a pan in them. And so I'm tracking my progress towards getting to 100%. That feels like a goal I'm never going to achieve, but you guys know me. I'm not one to give up. Just because a goal is completely unrealistic, I'm not giving up on it. So as of last month's update, out of the 388 palettes that I own total, I had 29 with pan in them, which gave me a pan percentage of 7.4%. And over the past month, I hit pan on my Tarte Clay Play Volume 2 palette, but I also hit pan on my ABH Modern Renaissance palette, which was in my Panner's Pan project, which means I now have 31 palettes with pan. And I am very excited about that. And that brings my pan percentage up to 7.9%. If I hit one more pan in a palette, I will be up to 8%. I am so close, and I cannot wait to get up one more percentage point up to 8%. We're just creeping up by little tenths of a percent in this project. And so it's always really exciting when I get up to another number, but we are at 7.9% for today. And I'm happy to see that number heading in the right direction. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with me not buying new eyeshadow palettes and keeping my overall count at 388. One day I might use up an eyeshadow palette, and that will really affect the numbers because, oh my gosh, I will have one less palette in the mix. So that's exciting. But for now, we are at 7.9%. So that is where we're at with pan percentage. Let's move on to the palette that I am bringing into this project to replace the Tarte Clay Play Volume 2. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I only have one more palette that has a face powder in it and no pans. I think I have other face powders in palettes, but those palettes have a pan in them. And yeah, I think I only have one more palette that does not have pan in it, but has a face powder. And that is this guy, this little oldie right here. This is a Lancome palette. I can't see any name on it. There's a list of the products because I believe this was like a gift with purchase. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is a hand-me-down from Jamie. But this is what it looks like in here. It comes with a blush, 2 eyeshadows, and a face powder. And it's a pretty light shade. And I'm hoping that this will work to set my under eyes. Yep, it's pretty light. It doesn't look like the most pigmented powder I've ever seen, but because I'm already applying a color corrector and a concealer, I don't necessarily need a powder with a ton of coverage. I just don't need it to be dark. I need it to be light and a little bit brightening, and it should be good. But to be honest, I've never tried this on my under eyes other than what I just did right there. So hopefully this will work great and I will be able to work on this as an under eye setting powder. That's the plan for now. But I don't know if I've ever used this little palette even once. All the usage on this is from Jamie, and I've had this for probably over 5 years. This palette, because this palette has face powders and eyeshadows, it falls under like my mixed palette category on my inventory, which is all the palettes that have face powders and eyeshadows mixed together. But yeah, I don't see any name to this palette on this back. The names of the shadows, the names of the blush, the names of the powder are on here, but I don't think this palette has a name. So that's too bad. But yeah, I think this is the last palette with a face powder that I could possibly bring into this project, which means once I have pan on this face powder, I'm going to have to bring in a new category. I'm either going to have to bring in a bronzer or a highlighter or another blush or another eyeshadow. I think those are the options, or cream products. But this is the end. This is the end of the line for face powders right here, I believe. So I am really excited to start working on this. I hope it's as good as my Tarte Clay Play powders because obviously I loved those very, very much. And I hope this will make me as happy as the Tarte powders did because I really loved them. Obviously, I don't know how many times, if any, Jamie used this powder. It does look like it's been used, but it also doesn't look like it's been well used. Like there's no dips or anything. It's very flat. So I think it's only been used a handful of times. But honestly, I don't know because, like I said, this came from Jamie. And overall, this palette looks pretty new. But that is going to be it for this update today. I'm so excited to start working on that palette. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.